I don't want to be rich, I just want to disturb people. Here we go again! RPG Maker, a game engine simple enough for a child, but powerful enough to create realistic manipulation and kidnapping systems, do-it-yourself torture chamber minigames, and tense surgery and brainwashing gameplay. Yeah, I don't know who allowed a trained psychologist to make disturbing RPG Maker games, but things may have gone a step too far this time. Disturbing RPG Maker games are great, but you know what's even better? Submersive ones. Games that take the tropes you know and body slam them through the table. Like in Finest Fable, where you're not the hero, you're an alcoholic ex-soldier trying to take him down after he stole your drink. You can also undergo a horrific transformation to gigantify yourself, if that's more your thing. You freak. You can join the Finest Fable playtest for free using the link in the top of the description with code FINFAB. The dev needs your help to turn Finest Fable into the freakiest game it can be. Now, on with the video. Welcome back to the Disturbing RPG Maker Game Lab, sir. The test was very successful. Subject won't stop mumbling, "Yes, Daddy, I love you, Daddy." Nice. So, what are the beautiful escape games? Because I've seen almost no one mention them. Well, they're connected by a very simple gameplay loop. You manipulate and kidnap someone, do unspeakable things to them, and then get validation in some way. In the first game, it's by posting videos online, and in the second, it's by selling your human dolls. There's also always a subplot that ties the gameplay into the true meaning of the game. In the first, it's a toxic relationship, and in the second, it's a lackluster family life. So yeah, these games will have you saying, "God, that poor guy, his family life sucks, I feel so bad for him," and then the next second, he's cutting off the limbs of an innocent youth. You know, now that I think about it, it's kinda like Breaking Bad, but instead of meth, it's torture. Okay, let's pause and go through these games one at a time. They aren't too long, but if you want to see my real, raw reactions to these games, consider becoming a channel member or supporting me on Patreon. First up is Beautiful Escape Dungeoneer. Made back in 2010, it has made some scarily accurate predictions about the ramping up of shock value content online. Case in point, my channel. This is a game about a secret society called the Dungeoneers, or not so secret since they have a public website, but the content is so extreme, nobody thinks it's real. We play as this dark elf named Verge, who tries to rizz up his love interest and fellow content creator daily by vomiting out how much he loves her ASMR videos. Apparently, he's done this before, but eventually she'll notice him in her comment section, right? For now, though, she leaves and we set off to create another video. First, we need to gather supplies, so we head over to our boy Lori, manipulate his feelings a bit, and head out loaded. Now it's time to find our first victim, which we do while listening to this absolutely beautiful relic of a song. I laughed pretty hard when I first heard this, but I stopped laughing as I began trying to manipulate the poor innocent fence zombies of LA to come home with me. Also, pause. Do you guys feel that? It's pure concentrated vibe. The music in this game sets a pristine, eerie, moody tone, except possibly for Mad World. I wasn't super into that. The real vibes, though, come from the unbelievably evocative visuals, which combine realistic portraits and environments with a pixelized style that is cohesive and unique, but also feels intensely personal. It makes the horrible things you're about to do feel even worse, so stay tuned for that. First, though, we've got to manipulate our victims, and the dialogue system is an absolute wonder, and it makes a pseudo comeback in the next game, so let's talk about it for a sec. Basically, Verge makes up some bullshit to get them talking. You then get a little bio that he's compiled by stalking them prior to the game's start, and then you have to go through that conversation saying things that align with their interests and feelings in order to get them to trust you. In the second game, it works a little different. You're a school counselor or something in that one, so the kids come to you with issues, and you just have to repeat back their words so they feel like you're listening and that you care about them. Both of these systems force you to get into the mind of your victim and to think like a manipulative psycho, which I'm not. You don't really think about what you're saying, you're just picking what would resonate with your victim the most. I imagine this is how killers actually do things, and forcing the player to get into that mindset sets the stage powerfully for what comes next. In Dungeoneer, what comes next is you use your mind break anime powers to bring them home with you, and then you must design a dungeon using your supplies. The goal is to get both their health and will just above zero so they can make a beautiful escape. If one is too high, they escape and report you, and if one is too low, they either completely mind break or die, and your video just isn't as epic. It isn't just basic torture stuff either. At one point, you learn there are people you can get to go into your dungeon and do things, one of whom is generous enough to give you a grape credit for free.
I've been touching grass all day, but at this point, I don't think it's possible to counteract the things I have borne witness to.
That's the basic gameplay loop, but what about the subplot? Well, over the course of the game, we learn more about who Verge is and see his relationship with Daly unfold. At one point, we talk to one of Verge's superfans and tell them how he got into all this. To sum it up, Verge has always been socially awkward. He was interested in a fellow teacher at one point, stalked her a bunch, his therapist told him to talk to her, and surprisingly, she reciprocated. But he wasn't satisfied, so he killed her. He realized then that he wanted to join the Dungeoneers, but didn't believe the videos were real until he saw his brother in one of them. Anyways, gameplay loop for a while, and then you talk to Daly again. Last time you spoke, she had actually said that she learned of these British Dungeoneers, but this time she says she's joining them, moving to London, and marrying the superfan. See, if you become a superfan, this could be us. We beg her to love us instead, and she says she does, and we're the best. We beg her to take us to London with her and make us her luggage, and she says she definitely would, and then leaves. Then do. See, this is the part where I feel bad for Verge. Despite all the horrific things we've done, a lot of people can relate to this kind of experience with love. Being led on, not knowing how to process your intense feelings for that person or how to move on from it, it's real and it's painful. So anyways, to cope, we go torture and film a fireman for the Dungeoneers contest. I mean, how else are you supposed to cope? But when we check the comments of our video, we see a message from Daly. The fireman we killed was our brother. This is a bigger plot twist than me turning out to be straight. We go to confront her, beg for an answer, and she tells us that this is the new British kind of torture. She broke us down and says the final piece is that she will film us jumping. At the last second, right before he jumps, the film critic inside of Verge rages that this new kind of torture is lame. This isn't what he went to film school for, and he has lost feelings for Daly because of it. She begs Verge not to do this to her. She says she loves us and that she was just playing hard to get. So naturally, we give her a big old smooch and then torture her. But at the last second, just before she escapes, he stops her and kills her. I don't know about you, but that felt like a 3-year-long journey with how mentally draining it was. Excited for the second game? Beautiful Escape Dolls is a gazillion times worse than Dungeoneer. I've played some absurdly traumatic games on this channel, and only with this one am I realizing the genuine effect it's having on me. Case in point, I lost all my hair since starting this video. I could not finish this game. I had to stop in the middle to recollect myself and hold back the vomit. Maybe I shouldn't finish this one. Maybe I shouldn't push myself quite to the depths of my own mind break, so I stopped about halfway in. But if you're still willing to hear about it, what is Beautiful Escape Dolls? This is a game about a man named Mr. Kovac, who was once a surgeon but had to stop because of a tremor in his hand. Yeah, it's a Grey's Anatomy level plotline, but just stick with it. He now works in a school and has a son who suffered a traumatic brain injury. He needs to pay for his son's surgery, but he doesn't really have any money. So it's back to his favorite side hustle, kidnapping the youth, cutting off every part of their body that could hurt someone, replacing them with doll parts, and then conditioning them to say the phrase,
"Yes, Daddy. I love you, Daddy."
Afterwards, you package them up with handling instructions and dropship them with our shopkeep friend from the last game. Also, when Laurie was introduced in this game, he ran over a cat. I hated that part. Completely unneeded, -5 points. For all of the beautiful little pampered Westerners out there like me, that shit was genuinely traumatic and haunting. And if you're somehow still watching, you should definitely subscribe because you're my target audience. Anyways, I do need to talk more about these mechanics because while they are gruesome, they do something really incredible. The surgery system requires you to use both hands on your keyboard, and because of that, and because of the beeping noise and heartbeats and shaky hand you have to manage with pills, there's just so much to juggle that you don't truly process what you've just done. Afterwards, you have to brainwash them to not only not freak out that they're trapped, unable to move or do anything in a doll body, but also to enjoy it. And that scene goes on for so long, and it has voice acting, that then the horror of what you have done can fully sink in. This is genius pacing. It pushes you to feel like you just did the surgery for real, and then it forces you to sit in it and get into the mind of your victim in order to judge when to reinforce their response, punish it, or ignore it. I have never felt in any game ever like a villain to the degree that I do in this one. And then to round it all out, you just plop them in a box. It is sickening. I could not play this scene again. Except I did have to play it again to get footage for this video. The things I do for my croutons. Like in Dungeoneer, there's also a subplot here, but it's one you'll largely have to discover for yourself since I didn't finish the game. The best I can tell you is that when you're sitting at the dinner table and your family's ignoring you, your wife gaslights you, your son doesn't recognize you because of the brain injury, you somehow manage to feel bad for Mr. Kovac, making the player sympathize with evil characters, especially after making them act out those evil acts, is unbelievably evocative and powerful storytelling. These two games will never ever leave me, and they have absolutely caused me to reflect on my own life and my own morals. This is gonna sound a bit pretentious and silly, but that is this whole channel, so this game made me feel more human. Hear me out, most of my life is rather insulated. I was lucky enough to grow up pretty well off and with a supportive family and in the United States, so I have not seen a lot of terrible things. So this game pushed me outside of my comfort zone and forced me to confront things that I otherwise would have never even thought about. These two games made me appreciate the life that I do have even more, and that's kind of the secret to happiness, gratitude. So really you could say that these two games made me really happy. Though these two games did result in me reflecting on the reactions that I have had to hardships I've experienced in the past, though I can always justify my own actions because I can understand why I'm doing things. Does that actually justify the things that I'm doing, or am I just coping with being a bad person? That makes me sound like the killers in these games. Look, I'm not saying I've done anything near as bad as those two guys, but I'm not perfect and I've had some bad reactions, and these games had me reflect on them, which is positive. That's the way you grow. These are exactly the kind of games I want to push forward with this series, and are excellent examples of how to use adult themes with video games to tell stories and touch people in ways that no other form of media can. Kalunio doesn't want to be rich, he just wants to disturb people, but games like these deserve our support, and if we give Kalunio more money, maybe he'll make more games. So check him out, there's links to him and his games in the description. Both of them are free, by the way. Thank you for watching, and try to have a good rest of your day. Oh, final thought, this video was actually inspired by my buddy Riggy2K3's video, which delves into even more of Kalunio's games. He's got more than just these two. Riggy is a fantastic YouTuber, you should definitely check him out if you like my Disturbing RPG Maker games series.